The world is holding its breath tonight. A new dramatic chapter in the US-China trade war has just begun. Beijing has ordered a complete shutdown of all Boeing operations within its borders, a move few thought possible. This isn't just another tariff. It's a direct challenge to one of America's most iconic companies. The message: China is willing to take unprecedented steps in this escalating conflict. The implications are vast, touching global supply chains and the jobs of thousands. The standoff between the world's two largest economies has entered a dangerous new phase. For years, the conflict was fought with tariffs and tech restrictions. Now it targets a giant of aviation. Boeing is more than a company. It's a symbol of American manufacturing power. By targeting Boeing, China strikes at the heart of the US economy. The announcement shocked international markets, sending stocks tumbling. Experts warn the long-term consequences could reshape the global aviation industry. This move could push US-China relations to a breaking point. We're witnessing a high-stakes geopolitical chess match, and the rules have changed. Tonight, we break down what this means for you. We'll examine the shutdown's immediate impact and the political, economic, and human costs. The world is watching to see how Washington will respond. The stakes have never been higher. This is a defining moment in a conflict that will shape the 21st century. Stay with us as we unravel this complex, rapidly developing story. To understand today, we must look at yesterday. The US-China trade relationship has always been a mix of cooperation and conflict. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization, opening its markets and fueling a trade boom. American companies flocked to China for cheap manufacturing, consumers enjoyed lower prices, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. The first major cracks appeared in the late 2010s, when the Trump administration launched a trade war. Tariffs hit hundreds of billions in goods, aiming to address unfair trade practices. China retaliated, especially targeting US agriculture. The conflict escalated from quiet disputes to open hostility. The Phase 1 trade deal in 2020 offered a brief truce, but core issues remained. The COVID-19 pandemic strained relations further. Then came the tech war, US restrictions on Chinese giants like Huawei, and China boosting its own tech sector. The stage was set for broader economic decoupling. Recent US sanctions on Chinese banks, announced in August 2025, were the final straw for Beijing. China saw this as a direct attack on its economic sovereignty and warned of firm countermeasures. Few expected such a drastic response. The Boeing shutdown is not just another move, it's the result of years of grievances and a breakdown of trust. This is a turning point in a long, troubled relationship. The world is now witnessing the consequences of years of unresolved conflict. The stakes for both nations and the world have never been higher. The news broke this morning from China's Ministry of Commerce. The statement was brief. All Boeing operations in China are suspended, effective immediately. This includes a halt to assembly at the Boeing 737 plant in Zhoushan and a ban on new aircraft imports. The ministry cited national economic security and public interest, framing the move as a response to US sanctions. The message: hit our banks, and we'll hit your industrial giants. Boeing's history in China runs deep, over 50 years, with China accounting for a quarter of its deliveries. The Zhoushan plant symbolized US-China aviation partnership. Its closure is both symbolic and economic. The shutdown freezes Boeing out of its largest international market. China's official statement blames Washington for forcing its hand. The timing is strategic, just weeks before a major G20 summit. By acting now, China ensures this dispute tops the global agenda. It's a high-risk strategy to pressure the US and rally support from other nations wary of American sanctions. The move signals Beijing is done playing by old rules. It's creating new ones. The global aviation industry is on notice. The world is watching for the next move. The stakes are enormous. Let's break down the shutdown order. First, all activity at the Boeing 737 plant in Zhoushan stops immediately. Workers sent home, deliveries halted. Second, a total ban on new Boeing aircraft imports. Chinese airlines with hundreds of planes on order are left in limbo. The ban covers all models from the 737 MAX to the 787 Dreamliner. This is a massive blow to Boeing's production and revenue. Airbus, Boeing's European rival, stands to gain, but may struggle to meet demand. Third, China launches a safety review of all Boeing planes in its airlines' fleets, likely causing operational headaches. No official grounding, but expect delays and disruptions. Finally, all Boeing collaborations with Chinese aviation entities are suspended. Research, training, supply chain deals. Chinese companies that supply Boeing now face an uncertain future. The move disrupts Boeing's global supply chain and accelerates China's push for self-sufficiency. Beijing is betting on its own champion, COMAC, to fill the gap. The message, China is ready to go it alone in aerospace. The impact will be felt worldwide. The economic shock was immediate. Boeing's stock plunged over 20% in hours, dragging down the Dow Jones. Investors fear for Boeing's future. China is irreplaceable as a market. The loss of billions in sales threatens not just Boeing, but thousands of U.S. suppliers and jobs. Manufacturing hubs like Washington and South Carolina brace for layoffs. The pain will ripple through local economies. For China, the risks are real too. Its airlines depend on Boeing, and Airbus can't instantly fill the gap. Growth in China's travel sector may slow. Economists warn this could be just the start. If US and China unravel their trade ties, global growth is at risk. Supply chains could break down, prices rise, and markets become more volatile. The world is watching. Is this a single strike, or the start of a wider economic war? The stakes are global. The political fallout is fierce. In Washington, lawmakers from both parties call China's move economic aggression. The White House calls it reckless escalation. The president meets with advisors to plan a response. Options range from new tariffs to tech restrictions, but any move risks further escalation. In Beijing, state media hails the decision as a defense of sovereignty, rallying public support. Backing down is now politically difficult for both sides. The Boeing shutdown is a matter of national pride in China. U.S. allies are caught in the middle. Many have deep economic ties to China and fear being forced to choose sides. This could strain alliances like the G7 and NATO. China's move is a test of the US-led international order. The world's balance of power is shifting. The next steps will shape global politics for years. The stakes could not be higher. Beyond politics and economics, real people are suffering. In Zhoushan, thousands of Boeing workers face an uncertain future. We were proud to build the best airplanes in the world. Now we don't know if we'll have jobs tomorrow, one worker says. The impact stretches to Everett, Washington, and South Carolina, Boeing's U.S. plants. With Chinese orders frozen, layoffs loom and families worry. Union leaders scramble to protect jobs. Local businesses that depend on Boeing workers brace for tough times. Communities feel the anxiety and frustration of being pawns in a global power struggle. Trade wars aren't just about numbers, they're about people, families, and livelihoods. The burden falls hardest on ordinary workers. Their stories remind us of the real cost of failed diplomacy. In both countries, the human toll is mounting. The world must not forget those caught in the crossfire. This is the true face of the trade war. For expert insight, we turn to Dr. Evelyn Reed of the Global Trade Institute. She calls this the most significant escalation in the US-China conflict yet. Tariffs are taxes. Shutting down a multinational is like amputating a limb from the global economy. Dr. Reed says China's move is asymmetrical, hitting America's top exporter in a sector where China has alternatives. It's a calculated, long-term strategy. The risk economic decoupling with the world splitting into rival blocs. What if China targets Apple or Starbucks next? What if the US delists Chinese companies, she warns? Global commerce could become fragmented and politicized. For decades, deep economic ties were supposed to prevent conflict. Today's events may prove that theory wrong. National security and strategic rivalry now override economic logic. Businesses and governments must adapt, fast. The old globalized system is ending. The world is entering a new era of competition and uncertainty. The consequences will be felt everywhere. This is a historic turning point. Tonight, the world stands at a crossroads. China's shutdown of Boeing has pushed US-China relations into uncharted territory. The next move belongs to Washington. The White House faces pressure to respond. Will it escalate or seek de-escalation? A full-blown economic war would devastate global prosperity and stability. Supply chains, jobs, and prices everywhere hang in the balance. Finding a diplomatic off-ramp will require cool heads and compromise. The story is still unfolding and will dominate headlines for weeks to come. The decisions made now will shape the future of trade, technology, and diplomacy. The hope wisdom prevails over anger. The fear, a long, damaging conflict. We'll continue to follow every development. The world is changing before our eyes. Stay with us for continuing coverage.